welcome back to the English Master Podcast. I'm Karen, and I'm here with my co-host, Joel. We're the show that helps you learn English through natural conversation and real-life situations.
Hey everyone, Joel here. Today we're talking about something we all do, ordering food at a restaurant. It's one of those everyday situations that can be tricky for English learners, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature.
Exactly, and we're going to walk through the whole experience, from the moment you sit down and look at the menu, all the way to paying the bill and leaving a tip.
Right. Plus, Karen has a hilarious story about getting the wrong order, and I'm going to share my strategy for dealing with those overwhelming menus with way too many choices.
Oh, that story still makes me laugh, but let's start at the beginning. Joel, when you first sit down at a restaurant, what's the first thing you usually do?
Well, after I get seated, I usually take a minute to look around and get comfortable. Then the server comes over and offers water or asks about drinks. But honestly, the first real challenge is reading the menu.
Before we dive into the specifics, I want to mention that different types of restaurants can have very different ordering experiences. A casual diner is going to be different from a fancy steakhouse, which is different from a fast casual place where you order at the counter. The menu can be overwhelming, especially at those places with like 10 pages of options.
Exactly. And for English learners, there are all these food terms and cooking methods that might be unfamiliar. You see words like sautéed or braised or pan-seared, and it's perfectly normal to ask your server what those mean.
Absolutely. Don't be embarrassed to ask questions. Most servers are happy to explain dishes. I always tell people to ask things like, "What comes with this dish?" or "How spicy is this?" or "What would you recommend?"
And let me add some more menu vocabulary that trips people up. You might see au gratin, which means baked with cheese, blackened, which is a spicy seasoning method, or julienne, which means cut into thin strips.
This brings up a good point about different service styles. In a full-service restaurant, you'll have a server who takes care of everything, but you might also encounter buffet style where you serve yourself, or family style where large dishes are brought to share at the table. Some places even have tableside service where they prepare things like salads or flambéed desserts right at your table.
Yeah, what would you recommend is such a great question. Servers usually know what's popular or what's really good that day.
Right, and then there's the drink situation. Some people want to order drinks first, some want to wait until they order food. Joel, what do you usually do?
I'm usually ready for a drink right away. I'll start with water and maybe something else. Could be a soda, maybe some wine if it's dinner. The server typically asks, "Can I start you off with something to drink?" And I just go for it.
And that's a good point about water. In most American restaurants, they'll bring you water automatically or ask you if you want it. It's usually free, so don't hesitate to say yes.
Speaking of drinks, there's a whole vocabulary around beverages too. You might order a soft drink or soda, and depending on where you are in the US, people call it different things. In some places it's pop, others say soda, and in the South, everything might be called Coke even if it's not Coca-Cola. Exactly. Now, when it comes to actually ordering your food, there are some common phrases that are really useful. Like instead of just saying, "I want the chicken," you might say, "I'll have the grilled chicken," or "I'd like to try the salmon."
Yes, those sound much more natural, and servers often ask follow-up questions like, "How would you like that cooked for meat?" or "What kind of dressing would you like on your salad?" You know, Joel, this reminds me that we should talk about polite ordering language. Instead of just pointing at the menu and saying, "This one," it's much better to say, "I'd like to order the," or "Could I please have the," or "I'll take the." These phrases sound much more natural and polite. Also, if you need more time to decide, you can say, "Could we have a few more minutes?" or "I'm not quite ready to order yet."
Right. For steak, they'll ask about doneness, rare, medium, medium well, or well done. If you're not sure what those mean, just ask. Most servers can explain.
And don't forget about sides. Many main dishes come with a choice of sides, maybe rice, potatoes, vegetables, or a salad. The server will usually ask, "What would you like for your side?" or "That comes with your choice of."
Exactly. Now let's talk about the end of the meal. When you're ready for the check or the bill, you can catch your server's eye and make a writing motion in the air, or just say, "Could we have the check, please?" And let's not forget about substitutions and special requests. Many restaurants are flexible about modifications. You might say, could I substitute the fries for a salad? Or is it possible to get the sauce on the side? Or could you leave off the onions? Most places will try to accommodate reasonable requests, though some might charge a small extra fee for substitutions.
Yes, that writing motion is so universal. And then comes the tipping part, which can be confusing for people from countries where tipping isn't common.
In the United States, it's customary to tip between 18 and 25% for good service at restaurants. Some people calculate 20% as an easy standard. You can add it to your credit card payment or leave cash on the table.
Right. And speaking of things that can go wrong, Joel, should I tell them about my disaster story now? Before we get to Karen's story, let me mention payment options. Most restaurants accept cash and credit cards, and many now take mobile payments like Apple Pay or Google Pay. Some places might have a minimum charge for credit cards, especially smaller establishments. And if you're dining with a group, you can ask to split the check. Just let your server know when you order or when you ask for the bill.
Oh, yes, this is a good one. Tell them about the Italian restaurant incident.
Okay, so I was at this Italian restaurant with my family, and I ordered what I thought was chicken parm. I was so excited because I love chicken parm. But when the food came, the server put down this huge plate of fish.
Oh no!
I was so confused. Apparently, I had somehow ordered the catch of the day instead. I have no idea how that happened. Maybe I misread the menu, or maybe the server misheard me, but there I was staring at this whole grilled fish with the head still on.
And you hate fish!
I really don't like fish at all. So I had to politely tell the server, I'm sorry, but I think there's been a mistake. I ordered the chicken parm. And you know what? The server was super nice about it. They apologized and brought out the chicken within 10 minutes.
That's the key lesson here. Don't be afraid to speak up if something's wrong with your order. Restaurants want you to be happy with your meal. I have a similar story, but mine was about timing. I was at a restaurant with friends and everyone else got their food, but mine never came. We waited, and finally I had to flag down our server. Turns out the kitchen had lost my order completely. But the manager came over, apologized, and not only rushed my meal, but also took it off the bill. The key is being patient, but also speaking up when something's clearly wrong.
Exactly. Just be polite about it. You can say, I think there might be a mistake with my order, or this isn't what I ordered. Most restaurants will fix it right away.
Now, Karen mentioned earlier that I have a strategy for dealing with overwhelming menus. This is something a lot of people struggle with. You sit down, open the menu, and there are like 50 different options.
You know what, Joel? I think it's worth mentioning some cultural differences that might surprise English learners. In American restaurants, it's totally normal for servers to check on you multiple times during the meal. They might ask, how is everything? This isn't rushed service. They're just making sure you're happy. Also, free refills on coffee and soft drinks are common. Yeah, how do you handle that? Because I know some people just freeze up when there are too many choices.
So here's what I do. First, I narrow it down by deciding what type of food I'm in the mood for. Am I wanting something light, like a salad? Something hearty, like a burger? Something healthy, or am I treating myself?
That makes sense. So you're filtering by mood first.
And speaking of different restaurant types, let's talk about some specific scenarios. At a steakhouse, they might ask how you want your steak prepared. At sushi restaurants, you might see terms like tirashi or omakase. Don't be afraid to ask what these mean. Fast casual places like Chipotle have assembly line ordering, where you choose toppings as you go down the line. Right, then I look at the menu sections. Most restaurants organize their menus into categories: appetizers, salads, sandwiches, pasta, meat dishes, whatever. I'll focus on just one or two sections that match what I'm craving.
That's really smart. Instead of reading every single item, you're being strategic about it.
Exactly. And if I'm still stuck, I'll look for specials or ask the server what's popular. Sometimes they'll say, the salmon is really fresh today, or the pasta special's getting great reviews. That helps narrow it down even more.
And don't forget about dietary restrictions or preferences. If you're vegetarian, gluten-free, or have any allergies, definitely mention that to your server. Most restaurants can accommodate special requests.
Absolutely. They're used to questions like, is this dish dairy-free? Or can you make this without nuts? Food safety is really important to restaurants.
Well, I think we've covered the whole restaurant experience pretty thoroughly, from reading the menu to paying the bill, and even dealing with mistakes along the way. Here's a practical tip for our English learners. If you're nervous about ordering, you can always practice at home first. Look up restaurant menus online and practice reading them out loud. Many restaurants post their menus on their websites, so you can decide what you want before you go. This takes a lot of the pressure off.
The most important thing to remember is that restaurant staff want you to have a good experience. Don't be shy about asking questions or making requests. Practice these phrases we talked about, and dining out will become much more comfortable.
Thanks for listening to the English Master Podcast. Leave us your suggestions for the next topic in the comments.
Until then, get out there and practice ordering at restaurants. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Joel.
And I'm Karen. Keep practicing, and we'll see you next time.